Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Miss Tracy. Hey, James. Hey, Miss Coffee. I know you working double, triple time this morning. Thank you so much. If y'all don't know, right now we do have two lives that are going on right now. Ness is finally live, so we know that she's okay and everything. Funny part is Ness is being funny. She's got a roach as her thumbnail. She knows she being funny. And then VS is live, and she right now is interviewing in a way. We're just having a conversation with Miss Dovey, however you want to say that. So I figured, we'll start with that. So basically, no, I'm gonna start at the very top. Okay, so Miss Yaya went live yesterday, and she did a short live, and she told Mrs. Red, Miss Louisiana Red, to come on camera without the wig and the makeup, and she will come on camera. To leave K Fit alone and don't worry about her living with her kids. Cause what you mad? Cause you can't? Cause they stay in a rehab, and she's sick of the bullies. Miss Yaya said, and she said she said that some of them people can't even get the bad mothers can't even get their kids to give them a piece of candy, you know. But she was basically calling out Miss Red. It was a little short, and then she's doing a new thing to where it's kind of gonna be like BlackBerry letters, but it's gonna be called Black Back Chat letters. And basically, she's gonna read the letter on live, and then she's gonna put it on her community wall for us to have, like, for people to give their advice on the community wall. Hey, Mama Global, good morning. So that's what Miss Yaya is going to be doing. What I've seen, instead of the BlackBerry letters, she's going to be doing back chat letters, and she's going to be like reading the letter on live, and then everybody can in. She's going to make a community wall post about that episode, and everybody can talk about and give their advice to the person. Okay, and then Mava did a quick live addressing ZX. Said ZX is homophobic, but if you're gonna do it, at least put it in the face. Do it. If you're gonna do some homophobic stuff, at least be real about it. And he was. Basically he was stating at least he's in your face about it, right? Um, and he said he was talking about how ZX was doing a live, and it got snatched right out from in the middle of him while he was speaking. And as soon as the live got snatched, um, T.S. Madison, because he said he was walking through the house basically, and all of a sudden he heard T.S. Madison's voice. And he said, YouTube was being petty, and YouTube was, being real petty, like going from that to T.S. Madison, one of the, biggest people in the community on, the platform. He said his sis, and then Mubba said, he said, you want all the gays on the island. And he said that so you can come see us, you be visiting. And then he said the word, the B word that he says, the B tard. I'm not going to say that word. So I'm trying to, it's not a curse word. It is what it is. That's when someone has a child out of wedlock. And Mother said he thought when ZX said the island thing, that was really funny. And that was a short little live that he did. And then Miss Tiva and the beef with Reed, that beef was over 5 years ago, y'all. Miss Tiva stated that the reason she thinks they're coming after her is because she's an easy target. That they don't want the smoke with VS, so they chose her. Right? That's what she said. She said that that's what she thinks, that that's the reason they're coming after her, because it really ain't that huge of a beef. So why just come out of the blue and talk about it? And it was something from way back, way back, way back. And also back then when Miss Tiva first started, she said she was real green, right? And, she was friends with Reed back then, or okay with her, maybe not friends is not a good word, but, they were okay, whatnot. She was real green, so she was real friendly with a lot of people, right? And wasn't as cautious being behind the scenes, right? Because she didn't understand back then how that stuff can get twisted on you. and that's that's how she got into the mess, right? Um, and then Simon was up on Lolo's panel last night, and they were talking about Simon's baby mamas, and he was talking about one of his baby mamas when it was in an institution of some kind. I don't know, Simon, but he does have 3 kids. I told Simon that he was a Rolling Stone, that he's a hope, because I said Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, I was over there singing that song. Cause yeah, he was laying the pipe all over the world, he said. Uh and then somebody in one of the chats, I'm trying to remember whose live I got this from. It might have been Lemons. How quickly we forget Tiny Dumbroke Elvis forgot that KRM wasn't the only one he sent his info to that night. Think, everybody, but I ain't the one to start stuff, so you ain't heard that from me. But basically, they're saying, hey, Miss TG, hey, Miss Queen Diva, hey, Miss LaKendra. Basically, they're stating that, KRN wasn't the only person that Tiny Elvis sent the freak Twitter to. And I heard something about on YouTube cameras about him starting OnlyFans. Bro, run me my money because I gave you that idea. Run me my money. Hey, but I done said it. That means you done paid attention to what I said all over the place. If you gonna do a freak Twitter, you might as well do an OnlyFans and get your money. Right? If you're giving it away for the free 99, why you gonna give it away for the free 99? Don't just give it away, right? Make your money. I say this to anybody: if you're gonna be a hoe, be a well-paid one. Okay, be a very well-paid one. Hey, Mr. Beasley. Yes, Mama Global. He had a freak Twitter, but I've always said if you're gonna be one, at least be a well-paid one. Make your money off of it, and don't be no shame in your game. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Also, we have that hurricane coming up, and Miss TG was yesterday showing, the different things that was happening. And Miss TG and Miss LG, I'm so sorry sometimes if I get y'all mixed up. It's because the names are so similar, and I have ADHD. And I just want to apologize in advance, but y'all look so beautiful at the wedding this weekend. Y'all looked gorgeous. Y'all was living y'all's best life, having fun. I'm so proud to see that. Time to get away from some of this mess and have some good old family fun. That's something that we don't all get all the time, right? And then over there at Pastor J. Wilson's, if y'all didn't see it, all right, Miss Bizarro, Miss Intel, and Lovely Love got into it, right? Lovely, and somebody in the chat said that Lovely had accused Pizza and Ness of running a play and being fake nice. And then Pizza came up there to defend herself. And there's a rumor that, and this was said in chat, that Ness is using Pizza for clout. Now, that's a rumor that's going around, right? Don't know how true that is. Good morning, Miss Donna. Don't know how true that is, right? So I can't confirm nor deny or say any of that. That would have to come from, one of their mouths, right? But there is a rumor that's what people are saying. Rumors are like that on these streets. Rumors get started every day. Passa says time will tell. Just wait and you will see what's going to happen. If somebody is really using somebody for clout, it's going to tell on itself. The truth always comes to the light, basically. And then also Passa said, who's to say that Pizza don't know? Like, people acting like Pizza can't think, Miss Bizarro can't think for herself, Miss Intel, she can't, see things happening to her. Like, Miss Bizarro is very smart. Miss Intel is very smart. So if there was a play being run on her, she would know about it. She could see it from a mile away. Like, you can't say that she's not smart enough to see something like that if that is the truth, which we don't know for sure because it could be just the same thing. What they're both doing, and this is where people are taking it to, in my opinion, and if I'm wrong, Ness can correct me, and if I'm wrong, Miss Intel can correct me, they're networking. Okay, they're doing a business relationship right now. They're getting doing things for the community. In their eyes, you know what I'm saying? They're networking with each other, which is what we should all do, is network. People are saying that people are faking nice, and all these things. No, we're networking, right? That doesn't mean that we have to be best friends or behind the scenes with each other and all these things, right? You can network with people. That is actually a better way to build yourselves. You know what I'm saying? That is literally the best thing that you can do for yourself, network with other people, keep going on. I went over there. Oh, you're okay, Miss Coffee. I figured you was working this morning. You trying to juggle 50 different things at once. Thank you for even being here, because I know you working, you taking care of me, you taking care of girl, you just doing too much. Thank you though. You know what I mean. But and that is something that, if y'all don't know, Miss Coffee, when she gets a chance, I'm gonna have her drop her channel link, because Miss Coffee does amazing computer graphics. She does intros, outros. She has, like, if you look at her channel, she does not do beef sector content. She does educational and things like that, and real life. They had a garden this year. She covered that. She has an amazing channel. She's really good at what she does. This lady is extremely talented. She's one of the kindest people that I know. She got a heart of gold. You know what I'm saying? Not saying she might not stab you in the eye, but she got a heart of gold. You know what I'm saying? I had to make a joke, Miss Coffee. You know I did. Okay. And then, they had that situation going down. And then on that same live later, when they got into it, Ms. Zintel and Lovely Love got into it. Ms. Intel told Lovely Love to worry about her health, and Ms. Lovely Love told Mrs. Intel to worry about that storm that's coming, that storm. And Ms. Intel says she don't care about Lovely, and Lovely said she more worried about the people on the internet than her family. Now, they were going back and forth, and they were saying some choice words to each other, but Pastor said, now you know how Lovely Love is. She could cuss you out 1 minute and be okay the next, because, 1 minute, like, Lovely, be talking about somebody, and the next minute she cool with them. That's just how Lovely Love is, And then, and it was at the 2-hour, 38-minute mark on Pastor Jay Wilson's live last night. If y'all want to know, at the last live that Pastor Jay Wilson did, at the 2-hour and 38-minute marks, where you want to start for the Lovely Love and Mrs. Intel fight. Okay. Now, before that, they did have some great things that went down. We were talking about, electric, and Pastor Jay Wilson said his electric only runs between 80 to 120. I'm like, Pastor, do you know how cheap that is? Especially as big as his house is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a really nice house. If y'all ever seen Pastor Jay Wilson's house, or the little bit that he shows, you know what I'm saying? It's gorgeous. He has a beautiful big home. Some people did years back dox him when he had an Airbnb. I didn't go look at it. I don't know. I've only saw what he has showed me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people that go look at stuff like that. You can ask VS the same thing. She said, well, girl, why didn't you get my number from I don't do that unless you give me the information yourself. If you want me to have your phone number, if you want me to talk to you, I'm not getting anything from a dox. I don't do that. I have been doxed. I'm not doing that. I don't go look at it. I don't want to see it. It's not something that I care about. When Rodney's came out here, I didn't go look at that. I didn't. I don't go look at those things. The only way, and I think this is beach for anybody, that you should ever look into somebody is if they are causing you so much grief, you're going to have a legal problem with them, right? But if it's just because of words, nah, leave that stuff behind words. Leave it on YouTube. I've always said keep it on YouTube if you can, right? Now, if somebody show up to your door, that's a different story, right? If something, like you should only do that if you have to take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't do anything just because you can. Just because I can don't mean I should. And then on VS's. Now, VS, if y'all had a chance to watch her live this morning, I don't have the exact minute mark when Miss Dovey popped up. You go see when she comes up. Okay. VS and Miss Dovey are having a conversation right now, and I know I'm missing some of it because I'm over here on the live. Now, Miss Dovey said that she, when she was talking to VS, she said VS helped her through a situation where her AdSense check wasn't going to the right place and she needed help, right? And hey, Christian Bridges. So she said she needed help, and VS reached out to help her get her situation right, get her AdSense right? And so Miss Dovey said she did not feel right knowing that Louisiana Red was talking behind VS's back and talking about copywriting something to try to basically stab VS in the back, knowing that VS had helped her, right? She didn't feel right doing that. She didn't feel right being in the middle, pretty much. That's the way Miss Dovey, in my opinion, felt, was that she felt she was in the middle of the situation, right? And she didn't want to be in the middle of the situation. But there's a reason why Miss Dovey couldn't get out of it, right? I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that reason. So Louisiana Red said that VS was dancing like a hoochie mama on her short, but you know what I'm saying? Miss Dovey said that Louisiana Red, that VS looked beautiful, and that was the way that Louisiana Red had told VS how to dance on the chair. You know what I'm saying? And that was the way she learned how to do the country dancing, right? Okay. Dovey said she just couldn't keep quiet because it was really bothering her and her soul. And, she was sick. She didn't feel good. And it just didn't feel right to her. Dovey said she wanted to get out of the situation because it was really taking a toll on her health. Right? And she said that, hey, Miss Tiffany, good morning. She said it was really taking a toll on her health. That's what she said. It was really getting her down, right? Okay. Now, they met. She said that Louisiana Red and her met from playing music together, right? In a music live. Now, there are people saying that she came by the way of Jay Wilson or MU. Now, Miss Louisiana Red, if you're here and you want to drop down and tell your side of the story, you're more than welcome to hit my panel. I know, I would do this for Miss Dovey, anybody. That's just me. Just giving you the option if you choose. You can go over there to VS and actually have the conversation with Miss Dovey and VS. It's your option. But Miss Dovey is saying for you to come over there. I just, I want you to know that if you're listening this morning, so that's a thing. Louisiana Red said that her and Jay Wilson had made up. Supposedly, she was supposed to go on the cruise ship with Jay Wilson. Now, Mr. Jay Wilson, if you're here and you're like, what the crap's going on, you can pop up too. All you have to do is, pop down and chat, let me know. I'll drop the link for you. But she said that y'all had made up and that she was supposedly going on that cruise ship with y'all. Louisiana said she was going to dox Jay Wilson, Tracy, and Stomp Down. So, Miss Tracy, if you are watching in the bushes, Mr. Jay Wilson and Mr. Stomp Down, Miss Louisiana said she was going to dox y'all. She was mad at y'all and she was going to do it. She was really mad at Stomp Down. And I think it was because of the video that he did. I don't know if y'all know about it, But Mr. Stompdown did a video, and he had everybody up there talking about Picturegate, where supposedly she had taken screenshots of Miss K Fit's child without clothes or something. And I don't know if y'all know that, but if you have anything like that on your hard drive, on your computer, or anything like that, don't do that stuff, because that is considered child porn, or stuff like that, and you can get some serious trouble. Even if you're trying to prove a point, to CPS or whatever you're trying to do. Look, here's the thing. I'm gonna say this right now. K-Fit, you may not like me. I don't know. I do feel snubbed by you, but it is what it is. I understand your feelings. In my opinion, I think K-Fit is a good mother. By what I see, she does for that child. She's doing his schooling every day. You know what I'm saying? She's taking care of that kid. A lot of people don't know what it's like having a child that's nonverbal, or having a child that has autism on the different spectrums, right? So we don't know exactly what's going on in her background, right? But she's doing the best of her ability, and that's what all of us parents should do, right? And regardless of other situations, that's one thing I don't play with, is the children. You know what I mean? Because think about it like this. These people who, anybody who might be mad at her and tries to do this, right? And this goes for any situation. When VS's kids were underage, when I'm trying to think of other, Miss Zentel's kids, anybody's kids on here, I don't care who you are, if you like me and you don't like me. You could take a kid from a loving situation and put them in this system, and a lot worse can happen to them. Only call when you know for a fact abuse is happening. You get what I'm saying? Only call if you know for a fact the child's in danger. Do not do that because you're mad at what somebody said on the internet, because it hurts the children, it does hurt the parent, but it hurts the kids a whole lot more. All right? Do not do that to innocent children. Be mad at the parent, cuss the parent out, call them a bad parent, do what you got to do with words, but don't hurt the kids in the process. It's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? Don't follow kids around their schools. Don't go to, children's schools. Don't bother the children, okay? Children are innocent. Bother the parent, okay? Cuss the parent out. Call them every name in the book if you want to. I don't care. Leave the kids out of it. Now, that will be always my stance. And if somebody brings me up, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say the same thing. Leave the kids out of it. Now, I will say, I can't tell nobody else how to fight. I've said that. I cannot tell nobody else what to do. Because some people feel, if you go after mine, I'm going after yours. Some people feel, if you sink low, I'm going to sink longer. But for me, this is my stance. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So many kids are going through so much in this system, and the system's already backed up, and so many children get overlooked who are actually abused because they're dealing with these cases they don't need to deal with. How many children are passing away from this situation? Go look it up, how many cases, trial cases there are, where innocent children were looked over by the system because they're so backed up and they didn't make it. The system's not perfect, and so many innocent kids being put in that system, not a good idea. Especially with all the things that are happening with it. I really think they need to do a overhaul of the system, But that's what I say. The children are innocent. Now, Louisiana Red also left her. How Miss Dovey and Louisiana Red started talking on the phone was Miss Louisiana Red left her phone number in the back chat. Now, Miss Louisiana Red, I'm going to give you a little word of advice. Stop giving out your phone number like that. People can find your information that way, and that's probably how somebody doxed you. You probably gave your phone number to the wrong person, and they shared it with somebody else, and then somebody don't like you, and that's how they found it. It's real simple. You got to be careful with that stuff. I will give this to everybody in this chat right now as a thing. Go Google your number, your phone number, reverse you can also what they call reverse number search your number, and see what name it leads to. See if it has your address on it. You get what I'm saying? This is for your own protection. This is for everybody out there. Anybody that listens to this replay, search your own phone number and see what it says. You can find it. And yes, they have even got people through Cash App because people have their real name on there, right? There is a setting within Cash App that you can hide your personal information on Cash App. So make sure you do that. Don't have your real first and last name on there if you've got something to hide. Now, me, myself, and I don't really have a past. I don't even have a speeding ticket in my name. And I even Googled myself to look it up, and the last address shows something I lived in when I was 14 years old. The last phone number that it shows was a number I had when we lived in a place called Verona. I ain't lived in Verona since I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? I think we moved out of Verona when I was 17. So we ain't lived there in a long, long time. But also in that live, I heard that, Miss Red said she was going to give a gift to Dovey. Now, this is what Dovey's stating. So if Miss Red, you want to clear up your name, you can do so. I don't know who you're going to reach out to. It's your choice. But she said that the gift was $250. Okay. And then Miss Dovey asked her, could she make it $270? She needed an extra $20, right? Because a bill had came up. It was a light bill. She didn't know. How when you pay the thing, sometimes they'll bill you early and you're not expecting it. Like if it's a first month's bill or something like that. It was something like that. It was some kind of bill. That's true. That's true, Big Skinny Jeans. The people who look you up are usually the ones that are hiding stuff. That is absolutely true. They're usually the ones with the bad past and all that other stuff. You absolutely right on that. But yeah, so and then about a week later, after the 270, Miss Red said she needed it back because it was something to do with her boyfriend or a bill that had came up or something, So she said she needed the 270 back. Even though she said the 250 was a gift, she said she needed it back. It was something, about that. And then she said something happened and one of the twins made her mad. And because that Miss LG, Miss TG, that she dropped both of y'all down off her platform, and it made Red real mad, right? Just because Miss Dovey was like, I don't need to deal with all this cursing and screaming. And I'm pretty sure the twins probably didn't even get mad. It was one. She said it was one of the twins. She said, they probably didn't even get mad about it because they usually like, oh, okay, I get it, So because Miss Dovey dropped her down, you know what I'm saying? She got really mad at Miss Dovey, and she started calling people. She called Miss Joyce about the money. She called and saying she was going to take Miss Dovey to court. She was talking to Miss Dovey's moderators at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Talked real bad about Miss Dovey behind her back because she was upset because she dropped her off the panel, right? And it was a whole mess, and all that, and it was really starting to bother Miss Dovey, is what I gathered, right? And then Miss Joyce said she didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to deal with all that mess. It was too much drama. You know what I'm saying? She didn't want all that. She didn't want all that stuff. She wanted to stay out of it. I understand that because sometimes, trying to help both parties and you get put in the middle, it's a lot on your mental. And I know Miss Joyce is in her new place and she's setting up things and she's doing her pillows and her covers and, just trying to make her house a home and make it beautiful the way she wants it to, right? So I know that she's on to right now positivity and good things. And I know that was a lot probably for her to have to deal with too. Miss Dovey and Miss Joyce, this is what Miss Dovey said. They like Tracy, and VS, they like Tracy. So that bothered her when she was talking about she was going to mess with Miss Tracy. She was going to dox Miss Tracy when Miss Red said that. it messed with Miss Dovey mentally. You know, and you know, she and then now VS did play some voicemails from Miss Red because she didn't pick up the phone. And basically, she knew that Miss Dovey and VS had talked, right? And because she knew they had talked, she knew that Dovey had told VS that Miss Louisiana Red, was going to try to copyright the Texas Hold'em thing so that she could mess with VS. And she knew that, so she came back and said, I'm not mad at you. You know, I don't have any problems with you. I give you full permission if you want to have your own contest or do anything. This is the one thing I'm going to say. You cannot copyright the Texas Hold'em thing. Technically, that phrase probably belongs to Beyonce now. I'm just saying, I don't know. Miss Beyonce may actually own the copyright holdings to the Texas Hold'em thing because of, you know, her song or whatnot. It could also be that there's a poker game called that, right? Texas Hold'em. You can't copyright something like that. That's probably already belonged to somebody else. Like they got the Texas Hold'em challenge is what she was trying to do. The Poker Federation probably has copyright holdings to that. Yes. So I'm sorry to tell you, you know, you may have the challenge, but there ain't gonna be no copyright for that. So you can pay the little $40, baby, but you ain't getting a copyright on that. That has been copyrighted many years ago. Okay. That you cannot copyright. Now you could come up with a new name and copyright that, but that name, yes, y'all could use it on, you know, you could use it on your, I know, well, see, they said they got the name from Beyonce's song. That's what I'm saying. You know, where she had the, you know, and they were doing the challenge over there on TikTok because of Beyonce's song or whatnot. So, you know, but the poker people own that name. Y'all know the poker people done copyrighted the crap out of it and all that other stuff, Chad. You know, any video game, song, anything in it, they gotta pay them people, you know. But you ain't gonna be able to copyright that. That's been owned years ago. Can't nobody copyright it. Now you could still use it as like a, you know, a title or something like that. But you can't say you own it. You know, so you're not gonna be able to copyright anybody's channel from that. I'm sorry to tell you that. That's not happening. That's just common sense. You know, that's not me talking crap about you. That's just telling the truth. Now, when she played the voicemail, what I had gathered from it, right, was that she knew Dovey and VS had talked. She knew what they talked about because she knew what she said behind the scenes. So she kind of sort of snitched on herself, if that makes sense. Because it was like you basically confirmed what Dovey was telling VS, right? You kind of confirmed it yourself. On accident, you may not have known it, but you did confirm it because, here, let me explain to you why, my thought process on how she confirmed it. If she had stated, I don't know what Dovey's told you, and I'm not sure, but it's probably lies, we're into it right now, that would be different. But she specifically stated, I'm not mad at you. You can have your competition, and I give you full permission to use it. So that does, in the same sense, confirm what Miss Dovey had said, that Louisiana Red was mad at VS and was trying to copyright that name to mess with her. Tell me that doesn't sound like a confirmation to you, because it does to me. Okay, and then now also, she did ask Red for $100 when she was having the court thing with Miss Just Read My Book, right? And so she got 100. She did loan it to her, and she, in the post, you know, in the little box, it says $100 loan for Uber, or, you know, for ride. So it makes the total $370, right? And then I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Now, Miss Dovey did ask Red to drop down to VS's chat to come have a conversation. Dovey did want to bring all of this on Font Street. She wanted for them to have a live, Miss Dovey, Miss Red, and Miss VS, all to put it out there for them to talk about it, right? Now, here's the thing. This is the way, and one of Dovey's sisters came in Miss Dovey's chat, and Red cursed Miss Dovey's sister out, basically saying, well, where was she when you needed her, and blah, 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 behind the scenes, right? And she was trying to send stuff to Dovey's moderators, and Dovey was like, nah, don't accept nothing because I have a bad feeling about this one. I don't want y'all wrapped up in this. So Miss Dovey was trying to protect her mods. And, you know, Miss Dovey did say that Miss Red said for her to give her the money next year, and that, oh, she did. I'm gonna have to go check out Miss Yaya's wall and read that to y'all. But I did talk about Miss Yaya's live that she did yesterday. That was one of the first things, Miss Z Sarah, that I was talking about. Was you know, she put out that challenge to Miss Red. If Miss Red comes on camera with no wig and no makeup, she'll come on camera. And I do know that she did put that. And then so some people, she was trying to pay $40 for that copyright. So some, you know, Miss Dovey says she's going to pay back the full $370, but technically Miss Dovey really only asked for $120. So how you want to look at it of what Miss Dovey owes Miss Red, you know, it could be depending on what you think about it, whether you think she should give back the full, because she did say that $250 was, you know, she did say that the $250 was a gift. So it's how you want to look at it. Now, Miss Dovey said she's giving back the $250 regardless, but she technically only asked for $120. $120 was a loan. So, you know, I'm just going to read Miss Yaya's poem that's on her community wall, and I'm also going to share it. So if people, you know, if people want to go over there and look at it, it says, wrote a poem about it. Want to hear it? Here it goes. Y'all know that lady over there with the fake teeth and multiple shades of fake hair? Well, they call her Red, but seems like she's been put to bed. See, her services are no longer needed or wanted, and today they done told all about the folks she done fronted. Why is she going after folks so aggressively when she can't even use technology? See, that's where the crack started forming in the group. She thought she was slick. She wasn't on mute. The lies she told and all the chaos she caused, just to find out she got fired from the job. Miss Yaya, that sounds exactly like a rap. That sounded exactly like a rap, Miss Yaya. You should totally rap that. Is my sound popping, Miss Coffee? Is my sound okay? It may be my plugs or something. I don't know. But Miss Yaya, that sounded like an old school rap. It really did. It sounded like an old school rap, and it was so perfect. I could have put it on a beat. Okay, I was just making sure. Y'all. But that stuff was popping, y'all. That stuff was on beat. It was perfect. Oh, y'all know that lady over there with the fake teeth and multiple shades of fake hair. Well, they call her Red, but seems like she been put to bed. See, her services are no longer needed or wanted. Today they done told all about the folks she done fronted. Why she going after folks so aggressively when she can't even use technology? See, that's where the cracks started forming in the group. She thought she was slick. She was on mute. The lies she told and all the chaos she caused, just to find out she got fired from the job. Fired on a day off. Fired on a day off. It sounds like a perfect rap. Go ahead, Miss Yaya. It does. Hey, Miss Lolo, it does sound like a perfect rap, y'all. It does. It sounds like the perfect rap. Miss Yaya, you go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I reshare that, because y'all got to see. It does. It sounds like the perfect thing. Miss Yaya, you should write more. You could pop down some little raps and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that could be a thing that you do, Miss Yaya. Good morning, Shaker. Good morning, Lolo. We was talking about the situation that had happened with the red situation, Louisiana red situation. I swear, Z Sarah, we should make a beat for it and make it into a whole song. I'm fixing to drop the link, actually, Mr. Beasley. I'd actually intended to do that. I pretty much got through. I will say that for those who are wondering, Ness did go live this morning. So she did her little morning live. And it was funny because on her thumbnail, I of course haven't been able to watch it because we at the same time, right? She had a cockroach on there. It was hilarious. So she's joking and making jokes herself, and everything else. But yeah, the Louisiana Red situation. She said that when she got mad, she had told Miss Dovey behind the scenes that she was going to dox Stump Down, Miss Tracy, and she said Jay Wilson. So I'm putting this out there for y'all. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, hadn't hadn't they already got Brother Jay Wilson before? Hadn't they already got Miss Tracy? Now I don't know about Stump Down too much, but I thought they already got both of them. So I mean, almost every OG in the sector's already been done that way. Ain't nothing new you gonna learn. Yeah, I mean it's like 2,000 times already, Miss Z Sarah. What you gonna learn new? Cause as far as I know, you ain't gonna learn nothing new. It's already been done. Like somebody found out your stuff and you said that somebody stole your identity. Now, here's the thing. It's a possibility somebody could have. It's also a possibility that you lying about that because you don't want no people to know your past and what you did. But I'm gonna give you a little word of advice. Stand in your ish if you did do it. Say, yeah, that was me 20 years ago. I've changed. Just saying. Oh, I don't even have to do it. I saw you. Hey, Mr. Beasley.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. Good. Drinking coffee,
I'm
cold coffee,
I'm drinking my coffee too.
cold brew, and just had a little bit of eggs and some pizza. Guess it was cornbread. I don't know what it was. Whatever it was all right. Light breakfast. Light breakfast, a little bit of oatmeal. Listening to music. Listening to good music. Old music. I listened to Prince all day yesterday.
I love Prince.
All
My
day.
favorite song by him is When Doves Cry.
Picture you will, Thornton. If you and I engaged in a kiss. Find us some stars, some stars, Um,
This
yeah,
is
I
what
listen
it
to a lot.
sounds like when doves cry.
This is what it sounds like when trolls cry. Um,
Go with Mr. Beasley.
and I did that. I replaced that before with trolls cry. Now I listen to some of the other songs, and when I was younger, I liked the music, right? And I listened to it and be cute and everything. But now that I'm older, I could really interpret the lyrics. You don't have to interpret them. He's just getting deep. He's getting real deep, particularly with his love songs. And a lot of them are love songs, or he's talking about how he feels.
Yeah, a lot of
You know,
his are like emotional, attached to something he's been through. Something.
he was talking
He
about the
was a
women that
musical.
he was talking about the women that he was involved with at the time, and a couple of them that are particularly dope is "She's Always in My Hair." Just from the title of it, you would think it's about a woman that's bugging you all the time, right?
No, she
She's
was running
always
her hands through his hair. She loved his hair.
she's she's always in his hair, telling him how much she really cares. She
Hmm.
was comforting him. You know, she was comforting him. And I just saw this little video. It was talking about marriage, and the woman was saying that men don't get married. There's no real reason for men to get married these days. You know, um, they could find someone to cook, to clean the stuff up, but what they can't find is someone to comfort them and to be supportive of them, and to love on them when they're having like a hard day or a hard time. the genuine care and coming that comes with love, and love can turn into marriage. But that's what he's singing about in that song, and it's no, it's kind of deep. It's kind of deep that he can be that real with himself and that trusting, that comfortable and trusting with the woman to tell him, you know, how you feel when you're vulnerable. It's easy for us. It's easy for us as men to, when we're winning and things are going good and we're feeling strong, and things are going our way. But it's another thing when things aren't going our way. When things aren't going our way, and we're a little unsure of ourselves. You know, we're a little unsure of ourselves, and having a bit of anxiety and lacking in confidence sometimes. And that happens to the best of us. That happens to the best of us. And yeah, having someone there to comfort you, to that believes in you, to bring you back. And yeah, it just resonated. The other one that I like that. I like that she's always in my hair, but I also like If I Was Your Girlfriend, and where he switches the sides. That if he was a girlfriend, he would be doing this, he would be doing that. And no, he, and then reading the comments underneath the song of how he touched people's lives, and people were talking about that he's like, it's going to take them forever it'll be 100 years before they really understand how deep and how dope he really was, and how, of course, how he played all the instruments and everything, and then how he was ahead of his time, and how he made music. He made music not trying to be contemporary. He made music based on what he was thinking, what he was feeling. It wasn't based on what was popular at the radio. He was truly an artist, not trying to sound contemporary, not to sound any kind of way. He would make music based on, you know, what he wanted to hear about the sounds that he was hearing in his head, and he
Yeah, like
combines it with the lyrics.
he was a musical genius if you really look at it, and way ahead of his time. I love the way that Prince, not only could he make you feel something, but he made you think, like when you listen to his lyrics, right? And he, there's always that joke that Prince was the only man that could be wearing a blouse, makeup, and earrings and still steal your girl.
Yeah, throw all of that out of the window, right? That's how that's how secure he was. That's how secure he was.
Yeah, he
Um,
didn't care. He was himself. That's what I loved about him. He was unapologetically Prince.
yeah, so I listened to him all day yesterday, and I read a lot of those comments in the comment section. And the reality is, um, I grew up with Prince like many of you did, but I grew up from high school on. Prince came out with Soft and Wet when I was in like the 10th or the 11th grade. So we followed him through there, and he was rocking the clubs. He made all kind of dope. I didn't even get to those songs. A lot of his up tempo songs, and yeah. So in between that, I was into that. In fact, I posted them on my community tab. I was into that more than I was into YouTube yesterday. It was far more interesting than YouTube. I was glancing at YouTube and like, let me just go back to Prince.
Prince came out for me before I was even born. So I grew up
Right.
from the time I was a baby on up with Prince, so he's been a part of my life since I was a twinkle before I was even a twinkle in my daddy's eye. You know what I'm saying? He's been a part of
And
my life.
that's why I like women my age or close to my age, is because they can appreciate a lot of the music that I appreciated, because some of the other music that I was listening to reminds me of the clubs I would go to when I was 21, 22, 23. That you get up and dance to. The music that makes you get up and dance because it's got a groove to it.
Yeah, a lot
But
of
you
the
can't.
music back then had like, when they started doing like the trumpets and the sounds and everything started changing. If you really look into music itself, it was different. It was dance music. It was, like you said, it was get up and move music. It was groove. It was just a fun old time to some of the best dance music did come back come out back then. Like some of the best. Mama Global, spell check ain't asleep right now. You is. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Mama Global. You know I love you. Don't hit me. No, spell check be trying to mess with me too sometimes. Um, but yeah, I love Prince as a person. Just the fact that for my generation and for me, he influenced us to just be yourselves, if that makes sense. Like, because he was unapologetically himself. He didn't change. He influenced others, not the other way around. You know, he did his thing whether you liked it or you didn't like it. Um, you know, so, you know, he was himself. And I loved, like, my favorite, you know, when the movie Purple Rain, like, that's one of the best movies. I love it. It's not fully all truth. Some of it is, you know, dramatized, but a lot of it is truth of what happened during that time. Although him and the guy that were supposedly beefing in the movie were actually really cool in real life.
But they competed.
Yeah, they did compete with each other, but they wasn't like means like
Prince
that.
Prince wrote music for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morris Day. Yeah, Morris Day was the dude back then. Yeah, all of that was they really had a lock on music for a minute. And there was a lot of competition back then with Parliament Funkadelic and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and everything. But they had a little thing, you know, the time.
Yeah. It just, they did dramatize that a little bit more for TV purposes. But because, like, if you really go back and you do the research, because I really love the movie Purple Rain, and I wanted to know what was true about it, what was false about it, you know, wanted to see all that.
Well,
They did.
It's about the Minneapolis club scene where these artists came from. That part was true, and I'm sure there were some beautiful girls there around.
Now, he did date a girl during that time, and her name, she was a part of a girl group and everything else. And so that part is true. You know, Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Beasley.
No, I meant to put the pictures of the little clip of Vanity, because Vanity's. I looked at her again. I'm like, oh, you're the most beautiful woman that ever lived. You're really beautiful. Ain't nobody prettier than you. Ain't nobody prettier than her. And she was troubled in her own way, but I like no one's prettier than her. Nobody. None. Lena Horne, Dorothy Dandridge, Halle Berry. No one's prettier than her. Nobody. Not even my Aunt Yvonne. And my Aunt Yvonne looked similar to her. I had an aunt who is like top 5 most beautiful women in the world. But she had a troubled life as an adult. But she was that beautiful. Really that beautiful. I put pictures of her up before. Like stunning. And a similar type of look as a Vanity. Yeah, Vanity's, there's none finer. No, each one of Prince's songs, and I listened to them. If I liked it, I played it over and over again. I played it a few times. He said the beautiful ones, and he's thinking about the beautiful ones and the beautiful one. He said the beautiful ones, they hurt you every time, and that's the truth too. Yeah, he's singing more of his. He sings more of his. I think when he was probably breaking up with them, or he's on the edge with them, that's when he starts making songs, and that's how that was probably his therapy. You know, that's probably how he got over it and moved into the next one. But he had a bunch of. You know, he was with Vanity, then Apollonia. He was with Kim Basinger. He was with he married the Puerto Rican girl, the Macy girl, the one that had the.
How's it going?
It's good.
All finished,
yeah. Hey, Street in Scotland. But yeah, no, I did. I went into when I watched the Purple Rain movie, I went in to look, you know, about his family and all the things, and you know, seeing how much of the movie was truth and how much of it was traumatized. Because, not everything that they play on TV is absolutely 100% truth, because they do have to dramatize a little bit. They have to do a little something. Go ahead, Mr. Beasley.
No, you're right. You're right. But his father did kill himself, I think. I think his father did commit suicide. And his mother was a little crazy, a little off center. But all that doesn't matter. Sometimes genius is birthed in chaos. In fact, genius is usually birthed in some type of chaos. And genius, artistic genius, whether it be musical or art or poetry or singing, whatever it is, it usually has a foundation of dysfunction. Look at Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh was crazy enough to cut his ear off. He's a troubled man that lived in poverty. And didn't become well known or recognized as the great artist that he was until after he died. As compared to a Picasso, who was recognized as an artistic genius while he was alive. And celebrated and lived very rich, left a very, very rich.
Actually, I just looked it up, and his father did not pass away until he was 85 years old.
Oh, what the fuck? He didn't kill himself?
Nope. He passed away on August 25th, 2001 at the age of 85 in his home in Chasen, Minnesota. And then that year, Prince dedicated Joni Mitchell's song "A Case of You" on his "One Night Alone" album to his father. So
Man,
that was traumatized.
Thank you for correcting me. I'm glad you fact checked me. See, someone told me that I trust and believe in, and that was some bullshit. I've been saying that shit for 40 years.
And also, Prince had Prince's mom and dad had two more children beside Prince, and they divorced so they separated in 1965 and were divorced on September the 24th, 1968. So they did divorce. And maybe that's where he put that in the movie, was something like, that was the moment that he felt like his father was gone in his eyes when they divorced. So maybe that's what it is. Because, he had writing privileges on Purple Rain.
I didn't know.
Sorry about that, Mr. Beasley. My little puppy's been
No,
sick.
it's okay.
I've been
Man, I got this.
taking him.
So I was posted up somewhere yesterday, and I'm drinking out of my coffee bottle, and it's a bottle. This coffee comes in a bottle. It's cold brew, and it's called Chameleon, and the shit's strong. It's espresso coffee. It's no joke. It's just for it ain't for those faint of heart. It ain't for no skinny people. This is for hogs. This is for you want to be up on your tippy toes. You want to be alert. Yeah, drink this shit. So I'm drinking it with the creamer, and the guy said, "Oh, you like Chameleon?" I said, "Yeah." You should try Busy. I said, "Busy?" He said, Bizzy. So I'm drinking the Busy right now, and I just feel like getting up and going to run somewhere with my bad ankle. And I got a bad ankle, and it was killing me last night. I wonder if it's ever going to stop.
I'm going to tell you this one as someone who deals with pain on the daily for basically the rest of my life. No, it won't stop. It will get better in some ways, but you will always have the pain and the reminder. Like, even if you just went through surgery, it'll just take a few weeks. That pain will go away more. But like, let's say
this is the second surgery I've had on it in 2 months.
Yeah,
now it's all wrapped up and tight, and that's supposed to help in the healing and help the circulation. And I had a talk with the doctor 2 weeks ago, and we just basically got to the nut and root of it. I said, look, let's just face facts, doc. If I had to drop 40, 50, 60 pounds, right, that would ease some of the pressure. He said, absolutely. I So how come none of the other doctors talk about it? A lot of doctors don't like to address that.
I'm gonna say
It's
this
the way-
is they don't necessarily tell you also that they'll say, yeah, this surgery is gonna help and all that, but sometimes they don't tell you that years later you're gonna still have pain. Like my doctors wanted me, my one doctor told me not to have the back surgery. They offered me a back surgery. It's where they fuse the spine, but he told me not to have it. Let me explain to you why. For some people, you have to have it, right? Like my uncle had to have the neck surgery because he had lost all feelings in his legs, and it was the only way he would be able to get back up and move, right? So he didn't have a choice. But the back fusion surgery, here's the problem. If it's in your lower back, right, when they fuse that little part, it'll start moving up and up and up and up and up until you eventually have your entire spine fused, because I have a cousin who had to have that, and eventually his entire spine was fused together. And they told me that yes, some people do good with it. Now some people but most people, at least 85%, will feel 20 times percent more pain after the surgery than before. It takes like 6 months. Now I do know one lady who's had the surgery, but she had a different kind. There's different back surgeries, right? They have the spine fusion, then they have the one where they can actually go in and help the cushiony part and make it better. They go in with this like robot thing, and it's really cool. But the different surgeries have different effects, right? But the spinal fusion surgery, eventually it causes the rest of your back to go bad. So you would rather deal with what you're dealing with if you can than to do it, right? Unless you absolutely have to. Now I do know somebody who had the neck surgery. They're doing better afterward. Obviously they're not back to their full selves, but it's better than what it was. So, my son had surgery on both of his ligaments in the back of his ankles. For the first 6 weeks, he was in tremendous pain. So, Mr. Beasley, what I'm saying is that even if it heals and the pain starts lessening over time, there's going to be times like when your arthritis kicks in or it gets cold, you're going to feel pain from nowhere.
Cold in the night, it hurts.
Mm-hmm. That arthritis ain't no joke.
I have to keep it elevated. I don't always want to keep it elevated. It's I've been having this problem with it since before, and got particularly bad during COVID because I'm indoors. I'm behind the desk the whole day. 10, 12 hours a day. That's where I spent my day, and it'd be swelling. It'd be swelling. I had fractured it 5 years before, and I never got it. It just stopped hurting. After about 5 or 6 weeks, it stopped hurting. I thought, okay, don't hurt no more. It's fixed. Then it starts hurting again. A few years later, I don't want to think about it because it's gonna make me cry. I'd rather.
Yeah,
It was hurt. It was hurt so much the other night. I was like, God, please make it stop. This just hurts. But cannabis does help it go away.
yeah.
Cannabis helps it go.
That cream that I shared the other day, Mr. Beasley.
You told me that. I'm gonna get some when I go to the dispensary today or tomorrow.
They should have some up there because it's basically CBD cream, right? And you can get the one that has the little.
They've got so many different products. They got so many different CBD products that I don't know which one to get. They have them at this strength and that strength. And then, I know I want to get the best one for the cheapest price. So I don't know if I need to spend, $60, $70. And I'm thinking $60, $70, then they have the other ones that are cheaper, but I don't know if they're going to work. So I don't know what to do.
The brand is called Go CBD, and it's 500 milligrams is the one that I used. And I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Beasley. I have bone pain in my back because I have bursitis, and I also have arthritis in it. And I have like 4 or 5 discs that are dislocated. One of them's perforated. One of them's torn. It's about ready to pop. So, I have a lot of issues with my lower back, right? I can rub that stuff on. Like I can be where I can barely walk, and I can put that stuff on, and I feel like I got a new lease on life. It's Just CBD is the cream. It's called Just CBD. It's a
I'm
plant
sure all,
based.
I'm sure all the CBDs of that drink should do some good. So I'm going to
Yeah.
look into it if they don't have that particular brand name.
They also have one. I got another one called Green Roads. It seems to be working. It's 750 milligrams, but I'm pretty sure all of them probably work around the same. I will
Yeah.
say this: the CBD creams do work. You know, and your dispensary probably knows which one's best. They're like, yeah, this one right here, we've used it. It's amazing. That's how I found about the one that I used was because somebody recommended it to me. You know, and that's why I wanted to recommend it to everyone else, because when you live in constant pain, people don't understand that pain eventually becomes your friend, which is crazy to say, but it's like because it's always there and it never goes away, you will get to a point that the pain, you won't be crying no more because it's just going to be like, oh, it's there. You know what I'm saying? Your body eventually gets used to the pain. That's the
I'm
crazy
not.
part.
I'm not to the point where I'm calling it a friend. It's a constant companion, though.
Yeah, don't go away. See, I've had it since I was 15 years old. I had gotten a bus accident as a kid. We were stopped letting some other children out, and you know the rule on the bus: you can't move up in the bus unless the bus is stopped. So
Right.
I sat in the very back of the bus. I was the only high school kid on the bus, and the next stop was mine because one of my friends happened to not be on the bus that day. So I was moving to the front because I was going to be the next stop, and I accidentally passed the little girl that was supposed to get off, so I had to step halfway into a seat because she had dropped her book bag. And she dropped her book bag, she picked up her stuff, and she was moving to the front. I was supposed to step back in the aisle to move to the front before she got off, and he hit us. They said going 85 and a 45. It was a bobtail truck. And it was, I hit the back of the seat with the back of my neck, and then I ping ponged between the seats and it really messed up my back and my neck. Also, I got screwed out of money for that too. But that's side the point. That's a whole crazy another story. Don't trust lawyers all the time. Um, they ain't out for you. They out for the insurance company. Sometimes you got to be careful. Do your research. But yeah,
Yeah, depending on the lawyers, right? That's true.
and then he became our mayor, and I don't like him. He became our mayor for my area, and I can't stand that man because they really did me dirty. But because of that, I've had to deal with that back condition for my entirety of my life. So, you know, if I wanted to go off to the military, I couldn't. If I wanted to go at one time, I wanted to be in work for the crime lab and work for the FBI. Couldn't do that because you have to pass a physical, and guess what? I can't pass a physical. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that were my dreams and aspirations, I had to change the way that I thought on things and had to accept what I could not change. Um, you know, they were taken from me, not because of a choice of my own. You know, so it was a lot that I had to deal with that, and sometimes it still does upset me because you think about things that you wanted to do and you couldn't do because of a physical limitation that somebody else put on you. But you know, I went through it and I live with it every day, and I've been dealing with it since I was 15. And I will say, the older I get, the worse it gets. But I deal with it. I know how to deal with it. I've dealt with it all those years. You know, so it ends up becoming a part of you in a way because you're so used to it, even if you shouldn't have to deal with it, right? That's what I was telling Lolo about her condition and whatnot. You know, when you have those kind of problems, you have like knee pain, back pain, ankle pain, and you've dealt with it for a lot of years, you know how to deal with it in your own ways. So, you know, that's why I was scared for her on the Vegas thing about doing the zip lining, just because I don't want her to injure herself. When everybody else was talking down on her, I wasn't. Was not my position. It's someone who deals with it. I don't want somebody else to make it worse and hurt themselves and then have to deal with worse problems than you did before, right? Like, I just don't want to see nobody go through something like that. I'm pretty sure Mr. Beasley will probably be back. He probably was dealing with something. But when we deal with, you know, and this goes with Wellness Wednesdays, when we deal with these situations, you know, and am I telling a lot about myself? Yes. But I don't mind people knowing these things. Can people make fun of me for my back condition? Yeah. Oh well, because you're not going to bother me about that. I've accepted this many, many years ago, right? That's just like, it's a blessing that I'm even here. I'm able to walk. I have 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? I can still do the things that I want to do. Um, so even though I have the bursitis, even though I have the back of a 90-year-old woman, I still get up. I still clean my house. Hey, Red Wings. Hey, Miss Catherine. And I still do the things that I need to do. I still raised my child. You know what I'm saying? I still do that. I take care of my family. So regardless, the thing that I'll tell anybody who's dealing with anything when it comes to health wise, just never give up. Keep going. One foot in the front of the other. Don't let it, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, right? My father has degenerative disc disease, Mama Global. And he has no cartilage in his knees, and he was in a wheelchair for 2 years. He worked his way out of it, and he keeps going every day. It's the point about how you pick yourself up and put yourself back together from these situations, right? I've dealt with this disease now since I was 15. The injury happened when I was 15. You know, yeah, that's a lot to go with, Mr. Red Wings. You know, people sit there and probably make fun of you, but here's the thing: you can't help that. That happened because you were playing a sport, right? And we need to uplift each other. Those of us who are dealing with all these things, right? Instead of putting each other down, right? That's right, Miss Mama Global. That is, you never know when somebody's going through something, right? Or somebody's dealing with something. So you imagine, I've been dealing with this since I was 15 years old, right? I didn't get the normal things that people get to do. I couldn't go do certain things because I had a back injury, and I will say that I didn't know how severe it was until I got in my 20s and I had another MRI done. Right. The first MRI, they told me I had whiplash. When I got my second MRI, I had got told for a while there on my neck, there was a spot that they couldn't see without contrast. And there was a white spot or something in my neck, some white spots, and they didn't know what it was. So I ended up doing contrast, and they found out that I have bone spurs in my neck, which is bursitis, right? And, not all of us having to deal with things that you cannot control. You have to accept them. So accept yourself, even if, no matter what's going on, and keep going, because that's all you can do, right? Don't give up. If make sure you keep walking this is what I always say. I'm gonna walk till the wheels fall off this thing, right? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do. I live with this pain every single day for the rest of my life. It's not going anywhere. It's not disappearing. It's gonna be there, right? But I will say one thing to give hope to others. If you deal with pain like this on a daily, eventually your body does kind of get used to the pain some, right? And so it's not as bad. Like your pain threshold rises to the point that what somebody else feels as a pain, you may not even see it as that painful. It may not even feel that painful to you, right? But that is a thing that we all go through. We all go through something. I myself have been dealing with this for many, 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 many years, and I keep going. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give in to what, others would think you would give up for. I'm not doing that. Oh, I already pinned it, y'all. I thought I hadn't pinned it. So I was coming over here to pin the link again, but I done did it. But anyway, see, that's the ADHD in me. But when you, like with my ADHD, I went 37 years unmedicated. When I was a kid, they told us, you just being bad, sit your little butt down. You got a whooping if you were doing something wrong, right? I didn't realize I eventually learned how to deal with the ADHD. I learned how to keep living with it and stuff like that. And then, eventually I did want to get medicated because I was just tired of dealing with it sometimes. Because what y'all don't know is I look like a crackhead sometimes when my ADHD starts acting up real bad. Like, I have the ADHD that is very visible. You can even hear it in my voice, the way I talk. I'm very, like, I'll start talking real fast. And, it makes me real nervous and jittery. Like, I've drank 20 cups of coffee, and coffee does not affect me like it does other people. For me, coffee is just something that I enjoy to drink. It does not make me, now when I was younger, I couldn't drink coffee because I was already so hyper that when I drank coffee, it made my chest beat too fast and I would get real jittery and shaky and all this other stuff, right? So I couldn't touch it. And then when I got older, the coffee doesn't bother me the same way it did when I was younger. Like, I've never been able to drink energy drinks like other people. Energy drinks actually make me have, like, my pulse rate stays really high anyway. So it puts it through the roof. Like, my pulse rate at a resting pulse rate stays anywhere from 100 to 115. That's not necessarily normal, right? And sometimes it'll stay in the 100, 160, 170 range. And I have to tell my nurses, I'm like, that's my normal though. That's what you don't understand. Like, when I was a kid and used to give blood at the blood bank, there was times that I couldn't give plasma because my pulse rate was too high. There were times that I couldn't give blood at all because my blood pressure was too high, because my ADHD affects my blood pressure, right? Because it's like being jittery all the time. But, I think all of us deal with things like, today on Wellness Wednesday, mental health is a really huge thing that I think everyone should take care of. How many people in this sector, hey Muffy Boo, how many people in this sector are dealing with mental health, whether it be depression, anxiety, ADHD, bipolar, so on and so forth, right? And I want everybody right now and in the future and in the replay game, do not be ashamed to get help. Do not be ashamed to admit that you have something. Because here's the thing. What if you meet somebody, right, that has, let's say, ADHD, right? And the other person might be able to learn something from you, right? So don't be ashamed. See, Z Sarah, you got bipolar. That's no shame. And people shouldn't make you feel shame for that, because it's something that, first off, it's out of your control. You can't make yourself not have it, right? If you could, you can ask any person who is neurodivergent. In some ways, their disorder, they're okay with it because they've dealt with it for so many years. In other ways, if they could wish it away, they would. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people don't understand, and that's the stigma. And I don't believe it's okay to make people feel bad about something they cannot control. That is out of everybody's control. But yes, Red Wings, my resting pulse rate stays usually about 110 to 120 normally. And PTSD is a thing. Okay, I have PTSD from my ex. The father of my child was an alcoholic. So a lot of people don't know this. When you're in abusive relationships, you can get PTSD from that. It doesn't just have to be from being a soldier or all these other things, which that's what most people think of when they think of PTSD. That's what I was saying, Sarah. It's a gift and also a curse at the same time, right? Some things from the diseases, like with my ADHD, I can hyper focus sometimes. Like, I can zero in on something, right? But then other times my brain wants me to look at, oh, there's a squirrel. Ooh, something shiny, So sometimes it can be a blessing and sometimes it can be a curse at the same time. But my PTSD was caused from that. So when I'm around people who are drinking and they start fighting and raising voices, I will start shaking like a leaf. And it's because it's bringing back those bad memories. That's what PTSD is. It throws you as if you're in the moment again, right? Like you're right back in that moment, and you just, you know what I'm saying? You're really like, brings you right back to that anxiety moment, brings you right back to that moment. And even if the situation is not involving you, you feel like you're right back there and in the freak out moment, in the like your brain can't process, you're freaking out, you're like, oh my god, and for some people it does. PTSD looks different on different people. Yeah, you're re-experiencing the trauma. And I had that happen to me. I will say this. I had a PTSD moment. A friend of mine went to drinking and got really combative, and it threw me right back in that moment, and I lost my stuff, y'all. I was crying, I was blubbering, and it wasn't just because of the situation. It was because I was right back in that zone, right? And I was shaking and I was freaking out. It triggers you to a point that your thought processes and things are like right back in that moment, and you're just reliving those moments over and over again, and it really sucks. Yeah, this conversation that is needed to be had, and a lot of men hide their trauma, Red Wings. A lot of men do not speak about their trauma, which I think is wrong, because men go through it too, right? Men go through abusive relationships. Men are told, no, you have to be a man, hide it. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to be upset. Y'all go through it too. And a lot of, the abuse, y'all are supposed to hide it or say it didn't happen, or, I'm a man, that can't happen to me. That's bull crap. Men can be abused too, whether it be mentally, physically, financially. SA, men can be abused too. And I think that I would love to see more men step up and talk about abuse. And a lot of men don't even know they're being abused. That's the sad part. They don't even realize the abuse they're going through because they're men, And it's really sad that a lot of men don't even realize they've been abused until it takes that right person to tell them, hey, do you realize that you're showing signs of abuse? Do you realize what they did to you was wrong, that it's not okay, that was abuse? A lot of men don't even know it is, because they've been taught, no, they have to hide their emotions. They have to be men. They can't, no, nothing can happen to me because I'm a strong man. No, men can be mentally, emotionally, physically, essayed, all that other stuff, just as well as women can. And a lot of men don't want to talk about the trauma. In fact, when I was talking to my therapist, right, because me and my therapist used to have conversations, she said, why are you even here? You really don't need therapy. You should totally go to school to be a therapist, because you already know all the coping mechanisms. You already know what to do for yourself when you're having a moment, right? Mine is music therapy. That is my thing. I like to sing. That's one of the reasons why I sing. It helps me through so much. Hey to Beef Sector Podcast, music therapy helps me through my mental stability. When I'm having a moment, when the PTSD, when, anxiety or depression or anything does that, that is my therapy. That's what makes me feel better. Bottling your emotions is also not a good thing. That's a lot of things that I see men go through, is that they bottle their emotions, they hide their pain. But she was talking about a gentleman that she was treating, and he didn't see what he was going through as abuse. He didn't want to help himself, but the reason he started going to therapy and even reached out was because he wanted to be a better father to his daughter. That's the whole reason. It wasn't because, he really was thinking about himself. And that's the thing that I see a lot of men do, is that they'll do things for others, but not themselves. You know, and at first she said he was very not really willing to talk about his trauma, but eventually he did open up. It took a while. She said that a lot of men are, you know, harder to break the shell and get them to talking about emotional stuff. And they don't even see that they've been abused most of the time. They don't even know a lot of the times, like for them, it's like it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like they're so closed off to their emotion. There was one gentleman that didn't cry. Like he felt it was a shame to cry. Men can cry too and should cry. When you feel an extreme emotion, let that stuff go. Don't hold it in. I think that you should go, Red Wings. You're a very, very brilliant person. And if you feel the calling for mental health to help people, do it. You know, whatever, everybody has to find their thing. Like for me, it's singing. For somebody else, it could be reading a book. Like James said, his is a good cigar. For somebody else, it may be painting. For somebody else, it might be writing poems. Heck, what we do on here on the beef sector may be therapy to some because they may find it enjoyable and make them laugh and take their mind off the situation that they're going through at home, right? So, you know, that is another thing that a lot of people don't understand is so many people in this sector are going through something right now. They're dealing with things right now, right? And you know, I want this to be a safe space. See, Muffy likes doing coloring creative. Be safe, Miss Coffee on the Road. Um, you know, whatever your thing is, like some could be gardening, some people's could be, you know, it's. I will say that most of the time it is some kind of creative outlet if you really pay attention to it. Um, Most of the time, not all the time, but a lot of times it is. Do you believe that crying is a coping mechanism? That being a blubbering fool is a coping. It is. It is a coping mechanism. It is a part of it, right? A lot of people don't know all the coping mechanisms because they, you know, haven't really looked into it. But I think everybody should have their thing. When you're having an upset moment, like some people do retail therapy, as long as you're not hurting yourselves or others, right? As long as you're not doing that, it's a healthy coping mechanism. Do what do it. Don't be ashamed. Like I'm gonna sing probably to the day that the Lord decides to take me out this world, and that's his choice, because that's what helps me. When I'm in a space, singing helps me. Music is my lifeline. You know, some people it's cleaning. You know, some people like to clean. That's what their thing is. You know, different people, like sometimes when I get real bored or I get upset or something like that, I'll put on music in my earpiece and I'll go to cleaning the house, right? So different coping mechanisms for different people. You just have to find the thing that helps you, right? Z Sarah, sometimes I hate cleaning, and other times it's like this thing. Okay, I'm gonna say this about ADHD. Okay, I could be looking at something that's bothering me, like there's a spot on the wall. Let's just say there's a random spot somewhere, right? Or something like that. That's kind of OCD a little bit too, but my ADHD bothers me and I want to clean that spot. And then 5 seconds later, I give up on that spot because I done cleaned that spot 15 times and it's still not wanting to go away, right? And then there goes my ADHD making me unmotivated. You know what I'm saying? So that's the crazy thing. I have to make sure when I'm motivated and when my ADHD has me in that zone to do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, I'll get disgusted. And also with ADHD, I'm going to give anybody who has it a pointer right now. The problem we have with ADHD is we'll be cleaning the dishes and see something that needs to be swept in the next room. And then, oh my God, I need to put this in the washer and then this, and you'll start 50 different tasks and then you'll get overwhelmed and you'll want to quit. Here's the way to where you won't do that. Do not look around. Focus only on the task at hand, put music in your ears, and focus only on one task at a time. I know how hard that sounds, but focus on that one task. And this can go for pretty much anybody with OCD and things like that. Focus on that one task, then move on to the next. Because if you start doing the 50 different things and you overwhelm yourself, you're going to quit. Another thing that you can do, have a calendar. Say Mondays is floor days, Tuesdays is laundry days. Just I'm making up random things. Thursdays is, you have the things that you have to do every day, like loading your dishwasher, cleaning your kitchen, right? That's an everyday thing. But I'm saying like mopping the floors, have it set on a schedule, right? And that way that if you schedule it, you don't have to necessarily do it at that exact time or exact time every Tuesday or Wednesday, but like have it set to where today is floor day. Today is laundry day. If you do it in a task-oriented way, it will take the pressure off you to where you think you have to do 50 things at once. You put too much on your plate, you will give up and you will stop and you will like literally say, I'm overwhelmed. You get what I'm saying? You will feel overwhelmed. You will feel to the point that you feel extremely overwhelmed and all that other stuff, right? So make task for yourself, and don't overdo yourself in one day's time. Take time to do things, because if you overwhelm yourself, you're going to quit. And then you're going to feel bad about it and want to cry about it, which is going to put you into the depressive mode. This is a way to help, right? I did hear about where they have these new things, Miss Z Sarah, where you can go in and like break plates and you can throw things against the wall and it just makes you feel better. Some people, when you have an aggressive moment, like to take like boxing or, physical activity, where you punch like a punching bag or, some people actually do what they call scream therapy. And scream therapy is where you walk outside and you just scream to the top of your lungs and just let it all out. And, some people say that makes them feel better. They're not hurting anybody. They just go outside and they just let it all out. They call it scream therapy. That is actually a thing in real life. So scream therapy is a thing. Crying is good. Don't ever feel ashamed to cry. Mental health is a huge thing that I think, and it does really go back to some of the things that we talk about in this sector, if you really think about it, and some of the things that people are going through. It's okay to not be okay. You don't always have to be perfect. Not every day are you going to be happy. The world is not, that's not the way it works. You're going to most days be what they call at a normal, it's not a bad day, it's not a good day, it's just a day, right? There's some cute little things that happen there today, but it's not like, oh my God, I'm just so happy. It's not going to be that way. That's not normal, okay? Normal is you're going to have days in between there, and what you should look forward to is those days. Are you going to have sad days? Yes. But guess what? You can get past those days. One thing I will say about mental health, and if you have depression, you can waller in it for a minute. You can be in it for a minute, but don't let yourself stay there. Don't keep digging that hole deeper. Jump down in that hole for a little while, let yourself feel, and then climb right back out of that hole. Because that's when we get stuck in depression, right? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have a bad day, but don't stay there. Get out of that hole in any way that you have to, whether you have to climb, scream, bite, whatever. Don't stay in that hole. It's like, that's the way I say depression is, right? You're in a hole. Okay. And then you can either dig down or climb up, right? And sometimes we don't notice that we're steadily digging down and we're making that hole bigger to the point that we feel like we can't get out of it. You can always get out of that hole. There's always that stick on the side that's going to help you climb out. But sometimes people can't see that stick, right? I want you to know there's always that stick and it will get better. If you're in one of those moments and you feel like it ain't going to get better, it will get better. And you can make it better. You yourself. When you have those negative thoughts and negative energies in your brain, change them. You have to be willing to put in the work to change your brain. When you say, I'm not enough, you have to change your thinking of, I am enough. When you say, I am weak, right? You have to change your brain to say, no, I am strong. It's all in mind over matter. Changing your thought process from a negative to a positive. When you think something negative about yourself, you have to be willing to put in the work to change it to a positive. Is it going to happen overnight? No, it's going to take time. Just like it took time for the abuse to change your way of thinking, the bullying, the bad things that happen to you, it's also going to take time to make a positive change in your life. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will. I will say I do understand that with drums and hockey, you may not be able to do it, but because of nerve pain, right? You can also maybe get one of those little things to where you're not hitting as hard, but you're still able to make like a slight beat so it's not as bad, or maybe watch someone else do it or learn more about it. If that's your passion, if drums and hockey are your passion, there are other ways that you can do it when you can't physically do it, if that makes sense. There's other things that you can learn about it and do about it when you can't physically do it, right? Maybe there's a video game about drums and hockey that you could play that's not as hurtful to you. Hey, Miss Lady Red, but yes, you have to change your negative thinking to a positive, right? That's what we're talking about here. Like saying, I can't. No, I can. I just have to find a different way to do it because I can't do it the way I used to do it. So now I got to find a new way to do it, right? But yeah, so it's all about changing your actuality. I was gonna talk about on Wellness Wednesday today, diabetes, but I think I'm gonna save that for next week. So next week's topic on that will be that. I have to go help my parents in a minute because I take care of them, and that's something I've done for many, 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 many years. But I really do enjoy like talking about mental health and trying to help people. And Miss Z Sarah, I love the fact that you've been doing those videos of yours and about health and wealth and helping people and all those lovely things, because that's just you telling people about the diabetes, carb health and stuff. That's amazing because you have a wealth of information that I think that you can share with others. Oh, that's right, Miss Lady Red. Maybe teach someone else the drums. That could be a thing, Red Wings. Maybe teach somebody else how to do the things that you like to do. Instead of being the one to do it, maybe you can teach somebody else to do it, right? And that's another way that you could do it, right? Yeah, I do. I do know what you're talking about. You're in your feelings. I know see, here's the thing. You're having to accept that you're not able to do the things you used to do when you were younger. That's something that I notice a lot of men have problems with, is like when their body starts getting older, or let's say they get a back condition, knee condition, they feel sometimes like less of a man because they're not able to do the things they used to do in their 20s. And that is so wrong because that's not true. It's dealing with aging on that fact too, and what your body is going through. Like the fact that you have health conditions now that change, like the things that you could do in your 20s, you can't do in your 40s and 50s sometimes, right? So it bothers you because you were so used to being able to do it. And now that it is where it's harder to do it or you can't do it, it really bothers you mentally, if that makes sense. It's the same thing with some of the things that, I was talking about earlier, where I myself had dreams and aspirations for certain things and then realized I couldn't do them. And I had to accept that. I had to accept the fact that sometimes there are things that we cannot change. And when you can't change it, you have to accept it, right? And fully accept it. It's a matter of changing what you're, instead of, well, maybe I can't do this because of physical limitations, but maybe I could help somebody else. Maybe I can watch somebody else do it. There's things, it's changing the negatives from a negative. Maybe this was meant to happen so that I could do something else, like what I'm doing right now, right? Maybe I can't do the physical things, right? But I can do mental health, right? Maybe I can't go lift up a 20-pound weight, right? But maybe I can give somebody else the motivation who wants to do that to do that. So it's all in changing your mind, your state of mind, your state of being, right? And the way that you think about things in your brain, from a negative to a positive. You have to change your brain thought process. And I'm going to promise you this. When you stop caring about what other people think about you and what society thinks about you, and you change that negative from a negative to a positive, you are going to feel so much better. It's going to be like a weight is lifted off your chest that you didn't know was there in the first place. You're going to feel so much happier in life because you're going to realize, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with me. You know what I'm saying? I know. See, that's the thing about men. Men don't think they should have limitations because they're strong. They're men, and it does, like, that's something that bothers my father, because he doesn't feel like he is the same man he was 20 years ago. Like, all the things that he could do then, he can't do now because of health conditions, right? And so it makes men feel like less of a man when that's not the truth. In fact, I told him, this is what I tell, people who are dealing with that stuff. Think about it like this. You did those things, correct? You've lived an amazing life. You may have to deal with things lessening now that you're older, but you did it. You know what I'm saying? I tell him all the time, I was like, Dad, yes, you have a back condition, but you worked your butt off your entire life. You know what I'm saying? You did all these amazing things. Yes, it's harder to accept, but it's time now for you to rest and relax and for some other young person to take up and do those things. You know what I'm saying? It's your now time to sit back and chill and let me take care of those things. And it is harder for a man to accept the limitations. It truly is. And some women who are very strong-minded, it is very hard for them to do that too, to realize that they're not as young as they once were and that things happen. And this goes for people who maybe, let's say you got into an accident and now things are different for you. You have to accept the things you cannot change. You cannot change aging. You cannot change some of those things. So you have to accept them, or you're going to be extremely unhappy all the time. Because it's not something that's in your willpower or your ability to change. It does hurt, but eventually you will get to a point that you accept it and you're going to feel better about yourself. I, on the last note of this live, just want to say, if you are dealing with anything mental health wise, please Please do not be ashamed to reach out and get help. Do not be ashamed if you have anything going on in your life. And if somebody says something to you about it, tell them to kiss yo bleep. I can't use that curse word, but tell them to kiss it, because this is your life to live. Why waste it being unhappy? Hey, Miss Tracy. I don't know if you heard the first part of this live, but and I was just, being all positive and stuff, but I'm gonna bring it back to something. Did you see this situation with Louisiana Red and what she said about you? She said she was gonna dox you, and I done said Miss Tracy done been doxed, so I don't know why you trying to act like it's something different. Mr. J. Wilson done been doxed. So I don't know why, every content creator that's an OG in this sector has probably already been doxxed at least 20,000 times. It is what it is. But, but I say, yeah, that's right. Tell them to kick rocks. And if they're not good enough to love you for you, they don't need to be. Well, it was stated that she had said this behind the scenes, Miss Tracy, with Miss Dovey on VS's live this morning. If you go back and rewatch that, when Dovey jumps up there, she states that Louisiana Red said that she was going to dox. She said specifically Stomp Down, Tracy, and Jay Wilson, that she was really mad at Stomp Down, and that's what was said. Now, I haven't heard Louisiana Red come out and say anything, but that's exactly what was said to Miss Dovey from Miss Red. I would not doubt it, because she did kind of confirm to VS basically some of the things that Miss Red was saying to Dovey, because there's a voicemail that was played this morning, and it was kind of she told on herself. She didn't tell on herself about you, but that's what's being said. I was going to let you know, because I don't want you to get blindsided by anything on these streets. I would do that for anybody. Mr. J. Wilson, if he was in the chat, I would tell him the same thing. If Mr. Stump Down, Pop Down, I'd tell him the same thing. That's what's being said right now. So that may go around, about that. I'm just going to let you know. But yes, positivity. Change your negatives to positivities. Accept the things you cannot change about yourself, and be happy, because you only got one life to live. Change the way your brain thinks and everything else. Change your mindset. And I promise you will be so much happier when you stop caring what others think about you. You'll stop being so unhappy when you're trying to make other people happy, and you make yourself happy first. When you change your mindset to that, from the negatives to the positives, and you let that weight lift off you, I promise you, you're going to feel better. And if you in that moment right now where you feel like you at your lowest, know that it will get better. You think it won't at this moment, but if I was suicidal at one time. It was a long time ago. But if I had done what my brain told me to do at that moment, I would have missed out on my child. I would have missed out on finding the man that I love. There's so much that I would have missed out on in life if I had gave into those negative thoughts. And I changed my mindset, and I changed who I was. And you know what I said? Why am I going to let them win? Why? Why am I letting the people who don't like me win? I'm giving them the power. I ain't giving nobody no power no more. So, do I still get sad? Yes. Do I still have emotion? Yes. Do I still have, bad days and good days? Yes. But I learned to not let all the negativity get me to a point that I didn't feel like I didn't want to be here no more. Thank you, Red Wings. I might actually do that. I might go in there and cut out some of the better sections where I, wasn't having rambling because of my ADHD. But I'm gonna get off here in just a minute. I'm gonna see who's live right now. Let's check our lives and see who's live at this moment. Now, I will say that we know Ness is okay. I saw her go live. I did not get to watch it to report on what she said this morning. So I do not know because I was live also at that moment. Right now, it is showing me that VS is still live, Ness is live, The Good Putty Cat is live, Sko Mysterious, The Truth Enterprise is live, Most Hated Blogger, Law and Crime Network, Miss TG is live. That is who I'm seeing right now. That is live. I will say what I see on Miss VS's. Y'all might want to get over there. That Pizarro's up there, Lady Dimples is up there, Miss Dovey is up there right now. So some stuff is going down over there at VS's, y'all. I'm gonna share her link for those who want to go. It looks like some more information may be coming out. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that down and let y'all go where y'all will. Now, you know, that's for everybody. Thank y'all for being here today. Thank you for anybody who watches the replay. Thank you to everybody who showed me any support and all support. I appreciate every single one of you. I love having these good conversations with y'all. And I hope y'all have a blessed, beautiful day. And remember, just because if today ain't a good day, don't mean tomorrow won't be a good day. All right? Not every day is going to be perfect, but we are imperfect people. And you are amazing just the way you are. There will never be another. You don't have to try to be unique. You already are. There will never be another you in this universe that's had the same life experiences and been through the same things you have been through. There's nobody else that's going to be like you. There's only one you in this universe. Even if you got a twin, even if you're an identical twin, there will still never be another you because you're all uniquely perfect just the way you are. God didn't make no mistakes when he made you, baby. You are perfect just the way you are. And if you don't feel like something's right in your life, change it because you can. You're the one with the power to do so. If you're unhappy, change it. You're the one with the power to do so. And if ain't nobody told you today, I'm proud of you. You gonna do that thing. Y'all have a blessed and beautiful day.
I'm from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go.
I'm from the west side, we don't need no introduction, this was the best ride. We all big boy rolling and holding, come take a test drive. Hilldale, Evergreen, Glenkirk, Adder Street.